Hi everybody, it's Jeanette Vilda. This is a project I made for a company out of the UK called Relative History. It's a scrapbooking company who has quite a focus on history-related scrapbooking papers. It's definitely not the only thing that they have, but for me, it's the most intriguing. I'm a big history buff. I love history. So I really loved working on this project. I think you can guess that it's about the Titanic, using their Titanic kit. And I'm going to have to drink water every once in a while because I cannot seem to get rid of this cough. I don't want to cough through the entire video. And I'm going to do it anyways. So, as you can see, I used quite a bit of sari silk. It's actually sari chiffon. Don't ask. I have the foggiest idea what the difference is. All I know is it's all light and fluffy and has like a little bit of a pretty sheen to it. But right now I just have these all on there, and I'm just loving its fluffiness. They will probably be cut. I haven't really completely decided, but I don't know. I love it. So I have a link down below to the kit. There's quite a bit that you can get in their Titanic set. Some wonderful scrapbooking papers, images that are like photos, really great, postcards, little ephemera pieces, and there's ephemera pieces, postcards. The one thing I really like about it, that I really loved when making this, is the paper that is used. I love to put scrapbooking paper into my journals, but I usually can't put too much because they tend, they're either so thin that they kind of, they're meant to be, put onto maybe a piece of cardstock, and they're not meant to sit by themselves and just flap in the wind, if you will. And so putting them, as a journal page can be not so great because they don't have much substance. Or you get ones that are practically cardstock, and so folding them and putting them into your book can be just add bulk. And so I found it difficult to be able to include all that much scrapbooking paper into my books. But this paper has been really wonderful. It has a linen kind of a texture to it, and it's that happy in between, the not too thick and not too thin. So it didn't really add bulk, and I was able to use all of the different scrapbooking papers. The size and everything was kind of dictated by this book. Recently I got a whole bunch of tea cards and cigarette cards. So once upon a time, or I don't even know if they still do this, but you would get like trading cards with your tea and cigarettes. So this was it used to say here, it doesn't, it still says, but it's underneath there, cigarette pictures. So it's kind of like a photo album for storing your saved up cards. So the book, I'm guessing it's around 1923 because there's a dedication inside, which I'll show you, which is 1923. And I just loved it. I thought it looked really neat. It's almost like a ledger. Has that kind of feel to it. So I thought it looked really great with this. So this is just a little piece of burlap, and when you get your kit, there's, a header page, if you will, that comes with it that shows you all the different pieces that are part of the kit. And right in the middle was this wonderful little life preserver. So I cut that out and used that on the cover. I thought it looked pretty cute. I did use a ribbon binding, and however, each of the signatures are sewn together but then they're held into the book with the sari ribbon. And I got sari ribbon closure, while the signatures I made fit perfectly into the spine. It got a little puffy, so sari ribbon keeps it nicely closed. So open this up. And so here's the dedication. You probably won't be able to see it or read it. I mean, it's in black ink on black paper, but it says, "To Doris, with love and best wishes from Mommy and Daddy, Christmas 1923, which is just so precious. So right off the bat, and I didn't want to do anything to this page. I just love that dedication. Like I said, history appeals to me so much, and having that was, I couldn't cover that up in any way, shape, or form. So I think it adds to it. And it's about, it's after, obviously, the Titanic, but it's around that time frame. So here we have this first page. So like I said, this is the scrapbook paper. I did have to, I don't have a ruler with me, but it's about 10 inches, I would say. So I just a little bit, but I saved all the offcuts and used them in some decorating and tags and stuff. So this is, I made these, I do not have, actually, I have a die that I can run through to make tabs, but I really wanted something that looked like this, and I don't have a die like this. What I did is, this is actually just a circle punch, and then I used my We Are Memory Keepers punch that does the little scallop. And so I folded the circle in half, slid it in, snip, turned it over, snip, and boom. You got what looks like a nice little tag. Or tab, sorry. So, moving on. I did a lot of stenciling. And there's craft paper and some ledger paper, some music paper, and some stamp paper. And then that's craft. There's two different types of craft paper. But other than that, it's mostly the scrapbook paper. So here's one of the ephemera pieces. I love how haunting that looks. And this is actually, so I, excuse me, I did quite a bit of fussy cutting with some of the ephemera. So this is actually, it was a full card, and I just love the little picture of the Titanic, and that worked perfectly here. And this back here is actually washi tape. It's a really big roll. It's about this wide. So it went I can speak. Went quite nicely right down there. So I like the maps. Oh, that's the other thing, isn't there? Some maps. So and this is actually also, there's another pocket back here. And there's also, this is open as well, so you can put a little something in there. Has this staff paper is actually from a book that it's about the same time frame as the cigarette picture book, so nothing. Then I did use some Tim Holtz washi tape to protect some of the folds on some of these papers, because this is, well, it's got a nice weight to it. It is a little bit flimsy, as is the ledger paper, which is also about that time frame. So it's I just wanted to ensure that they didn't rip or anything. This was a full 12, everything paper-wise in here that is from the kit was from a 12 by 12 scrapbooking page. And this particular one had this image in one corner and then another image in the other corner. So I cut it in half so I could use both images, and it gave me a nice little piece here and a little stenciling on the back. And I did a lot of pockets and whatnot so that you can keep lots of little bits, but I also I love the ephemera pieces so much. Now these pictures are not part of the Titanic kit. It's a separate ephemera piece that you can get. It's just a set of vintage pictures, and I'll have a link to that down below. And so these are just collaged on. Just love the ephemera pieces. And this is, actually this is about the same time as Titanic. A music book that I have that was, yeah, about that time frame. So I tried to kind of, besides the craft paper, and this is avocado dyed paper, all the papers that I used in here are, I try to keep from that time frame. So this again was a postcard, and this actually was here. And I just cut that off, trimmed around the image so that I could make a little tuck spot for another piece of ephemera. And used one of the postcards to make a tuck spot for a little tag with one of those pictures on. I just like the idea that of, well, I mean, it's not part of the Titanic kit. I just loved kind of the, you know, the beautiful women, the well-dressed men of the Titanic. Wanted to capture that kind of feel from that time. And I wanted the music paper. I mean, we all know the story of the musicians who stood on the deck and continued to play while the women and children were evacuating. So again, nice little collage with all the different ephemera pieces. Like I said, this is some avocado dyed paper. And I did a lot of stenciling. I had a lot of fun doing the stenciling because I didn't want to take up any writing space. So this is very much a writing and or art journal, but I wanted to add a little something. So side of that page, stack paper. I liked this, kind of made me think of waves. So, gorgeous images on these papers. And like I said, while there's like a marble image on it, the paper almost, some of it has a much more linen feel to it. This is more like a flat linen. Real nice texture. I love it. So some stenciling. Oop. Oh, I apologize. So this was another postcard, and I just fussy cut out the boat. I'll just keep that open. And tucked in a couple of little ephemera pieces. I love this. Launch. And this is just an envelope that I had. I didn't put anything here, so I have several pockets with nothing in it. Fill it up. This, I believe this was also a postcard, and I just took off this piece of the postcard, one of the pictures. So like I said, I tried to utilize my offcuts since I didn't use the full pages. So a lot of them are used throughout the book as tuck spots, also decorating on the different pages and ephemera pieces. So there's some, and I don't know if you can see the texture in that, hopefully, really nice linen feel to it. Gorgeous paper. And what I really liked is how it took the ink. So I used walnut stain throughout this book. Was it walnut stain? No, this is vintage photo. Those are my two favorites, so I never quite remember. And I believe Near My God to Thee was one of the songs known to be played by the band while they were evacuating. So like I said, here's one of the offcuts and one of the images. I am so sorry. I would have waited until I wasn't coughing, but it just doesn't seem to happen. And here we've got, ooh, I'll wait till it turned over. So here's just some collaging with some wonderful ephemera pieces. This, again, was a postcard, and I just fussy cut out the boat. And then another one of the postcards onto a little tag. Slides into this window side of the envelope. And gorgeous pictures. I like the ribbon binding. I think the reason I didn't do either a, I always call it hidden binding or stitched through the book was one, I didn't want to lose the integrity of the book because I love the feel of it. And I didn't want to do the other type of binding because it would have covered up my little dedication here, and I certainly didn't want to do that. So they slide around a bit, but I really, when you have this type of binding, that's actually kind of nice because then when you lay it out, you can lay it out nice and flat, but it also allows you to take them out. Maybe if you want to go someplace and journal and you don't want to take your entire book, you can just take that piece out and then journal wherever you are. Here's another, so this, another washi tape, big roll of washi tape with some music for one of the postcards again. And one of the smaller ephemera cards. And I love maps. And so I have a lot of really old atlases. And I tried to find, so this one's of England. And I had a lot of the Atlantic and England map pieces, Ireland, I guess. And again, so earlier I took that one strip off from, it's like a newspaper. So this is one of the postcards, and that strip came off of this one. So the bottom is here as a pocket for another one of the postcards and a couple of the ephemera pieces. I love this one. There we go. And I love this. You can slide it so you can see it a little better. And these are, I mean, if you see these seams here, this is actually 2 pieces of paper cut to size, and then I took one, folded it, and glued it so that I'd have the full size. And another collage. This was from one of the postcards, I believe, and I just fussy cut out all the little guys. And then this time folded it over to make a little pocket for some of the postcard and a couple of the ephemera pieces. Other side of that map. And this is the other side of that 12 by 12, but cut it in half. So this is the other one. I believe this is the cut off part of this page. So I think it was the bottom piece here. Just made it into a little pocket for a little tag that has a pocket for one of the pictures and one of the postcards. The glassine bag, again, this is another one of the postcards. I fussy cut quite a bit of the postcards because they had really great images on them, and I just wanted to utilize those images for one of the glassine bag for one of the postcard papers. And this is one of the ephemera pieces. There are a set of ephemera pieces that have they're nice and thin for doing collage work. So I used quite a bit of those when I did some of the collaging because they worked really well that way. I have no idea if this was in any way associated, but my sister had gotten me a wonderful book of music. That's where the other music piece came from, and this Rocked in the Cradle of the Deep just seems very poignant. And like I said, there are pieces of ephemera that are like photos, so you can see it's on photo paper. And I love that. It's like you have an actual photo from it. Collage, and like I said, this is one of those, but like I said, it worked really well for doing some collaging. And again, this is one of the little ephemera pieces, and just trimmed it down. It's an Atlantic Ocean map. This is the other side of that envelope, and another one of the postcards that I fussy cut. And this is, I want to say it's a piece of one of the other, I think it's actually, I used it on the bag here. And again, one of those offcuts. I don't like to waste paper, so I just made it into a little tag. And there are the postcards made into a little pocket for yet another postcard. Lots and lots of postcards and ephemera pieces in this kit. And here, made a little book using one of the postcards. It's held with some twine, and it's just a little paper notebook for extra notes. And like I said, this is the 12 by 12 that had the ladies in one corner and this gentleman in the other. And that's the end of that, of the pages. I did some collaging. On the back of this, there were, like I said, this was a book to hold cigarette cards, and they had used those little plastic photo corners, and they were dotted all over the back page here. So these are all strategically placed to cover. When I took those off, it took some of the paper off, so they're strategically placed to cover those up. But I think it turned out pretty good. So, little glassine bag for one of the postcards. And then another little tag with some of the offcuts from the craft paper. And like I said, this was the other piece of that other piece of the red that I cut. So that is the book. I hope you enjoyed it. I really loved working with this paper. Like I said, not only is it really nice and pretty, it's the feel is unique. I really liked it. I have had other linen papers before, but I haven't had linen. I've had linen cardstock, but not linen scrapbook paper and ephemera pieces. So I really liked that, and it really fit the historical vibe to it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Again, I'll have all the links down below. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.